From stars to misunderstanding and a long ass backstory. Hello, Magi here and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Touhou Facts, the series where I talk about facts from Touhou that I find either fun, unusual, or simply interesting. So without further ado, let's begin the Interesting Touhou Facts number 58. Number 5. In life, if your vision starts to get blurry, a good solution would be to get a pair of glasses. That way, it'll improve your sight and it'll make things look crisp and clear. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I don't wear glasses, but I'm sure some of you guys might. Now when it comes to Touhou, there are only a handful of people who wears glasses. Magiftw would be the first female character in the Window series to wear them. It doesn't mean she's the first person in the series, however. The person who earns the right would have to be Rikako Asakura from the PC98 series Phantasmagoria of Dim Dream. Ryunosuke is the first guy to wear glasses in the series. Well, Ryunosuke is more like the first dude in the series in general, but you get the idea. The newest person to join the circle will be Sumiriko. With only 4 people wearing glasses, it might be a while before I get another character who wears them. Number 4. I want to talk about constellations for a bit. They're a group of stars forming a recognizable pattern that is traditionally named after its apparent form or identified with a mythological figure. So here's a picture of Orion, aka the Hunter, one of the more recognizable constellations. It's named after a hunter in Greek mythology. Another constellation would be Leo. Its name is Latin for lion. I'll give our ancient predecessors props for their imaginations. I don't see shit unless someone else is drawing an outline on the constellations. Anyway, you may be asking why I'm talking about it. Well, in Kensokyo, the constellations are the same. But the interesting thing about it is that there are yokai constellations. In chapter 25 of Waldenhorn Hermit, when the Kappas made a planetarium and many of the residents visited it, the Kappa showed one constellation called the Ibiki Doji constellation. I don't know about you, but it looks familiar, but that could just be me. Regardless, Marissa points out that humans call it Orion though. If you compare both pictures side by side, then they're indeed the same constellations in case you were doubting. All I got to say is that the Onis do love their stars. Number 3. For those who don't know, one of Miko's ability is to listen to a person's 10 desires, hence the name of the game she came from. Anyway, when Miko met with Reimu, Marissa, and Sanae, she was able to understand all 3 girls, capable of progressing the dialogue without needing the other girls to talk. I ain't going to lie, that's convenient and a good way to annoy people. A mini version of reading their minds, if you will. Yomu, on the other hand, threw Miko out of whack, if you will. Like I mentioned, she's able to hear their 10 desires, meaning she gets a good understanding of their character. The issue with Yomu is that she's not fully human, as you may recall. She's half human, half phantom. It's because of her unique makeup that Yomu is missing 2 desires, her attachment to life and her envy of death. It kinda makes sense, Yomu kinda hovers around that territory of living and death. Without those 2 desires, Miko sounded like a dumbass and kept referring Yomu as a hermit, even though said girl herself denied that she was a hermit. And after that, Miko asked Yomu for a battle so they could be revived. While Miko isn't exactly dumb as Chirino, she did have her moment there. Number 2. As you may recall, our resident disco dancer is capable of unleashing some rather flashy thunder moves, but it appears she isn't the only one able to utilize thunder. Tochiko, our vengeful spirit, is also capable of using thunder. Creating thunder is a common ability for vengeful spirits, and Tochiko frequently uses it when angered. Wait a bloody minute. You're telling me these little floating beings are capable of using thunder? Well shit! Remind me not to make fun of them next time I see them in puppet. As she is a powerful, vengeful spirit, she can create the full effect of loud, booming thunder. As Taoism uses things like lightning, and since there is the borrowed power of the sorcery called the Thunder Rites, the power to cause thunder may be a power that can be acquired and mastered as a Taoist. Oh damn, looks like Taoism gets a point for the thunder ability. There's actually another theory in how Tochiko got her thunder ability. The theory is that the father of the character Tochiko is based on Soga no Yumako, built the temple Gangochi, and the yokai of Gangochi named Ga Gozi, who was exterminated by the child granted by the lightning rod to a farmer, which is commonly thought to be the basis. The Gagoji of the spell card Thunder Arrow Gagoji Cyclone, meaning monster in child language, is based on Gagozi, but the folkloristic scholar Kuniel Yanagita denied the etymology that Gagoji came from Gagozi. Yeah, try saying that multiple times. Eek also uses lightning as mentioned, but unlike Eek, Tochiko's ability is directly related to lightning, unlike Eek's reading the atmosphere. Different from Eek's lightning blast, Tochiko's lightning came in the form of jagged arrangement of arrows. Regardless of what form the lightning attacks are, they're gonna hurt, that's for sure. Number 1. Alright, time for the last fact, and oh boy, is it a doozy. Now I've talked a lot about Saga, and she's an important character. Were it not for her, we wouldn't have Miko, Tochiko, and Futo in Gensokyo. Now Saga wasn't always into Taoism as she is now. Let's start it up. It isn't stated where exactly Saga comes from, but as she lived in the mountains early in her life and then crossed the sea to meet Miko and has a Zhangxi familiar, it can be assumed she lived in China. After Saga's father became engrossed with Taoism and left the family to become a hermit, Saga realized her own passion for Taoism. Saga's dad, you done fucked up. Kinda, depending on how you look at it anyway. Eventually, she was able to marry into the Kaku family. She had the freedom to do as she pleased, but this didn't include Taoism, and she ended up spending 8 years depressed and not willing to speak with anyone. That's never a good thing. At the end of the 8 years, Saga abruptly bid her new family farewell and faked her own death by using Taoist arts to disguise a bamboo shoot as her body. Her family found and buried this body, while Saga was finally free to become a hermit like her father. Well, faking your own death, that's one way to get a divorce. Wouldn't recommend it, no? She refined her Taoist beliefs and techniques for many years, though apparently many of the things she did towards this end were somewhat taboo, including gaining an unaging body, and she ended up being feared by the common people. Heaven also did not acknowledge her, thus giving her the title of a wicked hermit. Her willingness to trick her family and fake her own death without any remorse points towards a personality that higher beings didn't consider to be a good thing. I gotta agree with the beings on this one. What Saga did could be considered douchey. Though her Taoist technique was strong, hermits such as herself weren't overly rare in the land she lived in. She wished to spread Taoism to many people though, so she decided to move to Japan, which didn't have quite as many hermits living there. She arrived in Japan as beliefs in Buddhism and Shinto were deadlocked into each other. Seizing the opportunity, she convinced Miko, a well-known virtuous person, considered by some to be a saint, to come to the side of Taoism. Their goal was to use it to achieve immortality, and their plan was to spread the ways of Buddhism throughout the country. Saga had no real desires to use her power for the good of the rest of the nation, however. Well, after what had happened in the past, I can imagine you didn't really care that much of the people. Details on Saga's own move to Gensokyo are non-existent, but after she did, she revived an ancient Japanese corpse as a Zhangxi, as she had found the mausoleum where Miko, Futo, and Tochiko were buried and wanted to protect it. It can be assumed that she performed the same death experiment as Miko and Futo did, as Symposium mentions that she arrived with Miko and Futo. Yeah, that was long as hell, but it is important. Like I mentioned about Mirin, if it were not for Saga, Miko, Futo, and Tochiko wouldn't be alive today in Gensokyo. Hell, if it weren't for Saga's dad, then Saga herself would have been dead long ago. Just goes to show you how one event could change things. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Which facts were your favorite? Did you learn a little more about Constellations? Do you think Tochiko and Eek should have a showdown? Or were you intrigued at Saga's long backstory of how she got into Taoism and how she convinced the others to join it? Like always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, or else I might be electrified by Eek and Tochiko. Either way, this is Magi and thanks again for watching.